You ever notice how a simple laugh can make your whole body feel lighter? It's like your brain just hit a switch and flipped the mood from drained to alive in an instant. But what happens in your brain when that happens? Is there a secret code that turns ordinary moments into pure, unfiltered happiness? The answer lies in a part of your brain called the nucleus accumbens, the reward center that lights up when you feel joy, love, or even just a good cup of coffee. And it's not just about dopamine. There is a whole symphony of chemicals and circuits that create the feeling of pure, unfiltered joy. So, what if I told you that the same brain that handles fear and stress also has the power to create moments of pure, life-affirming joy? So, what exactly are we talking about? Joy isn't just a feeling. It's a complex biological process that starts in the brain. When we experience something joyful, it's like the brain is lighting up with signals that create that warm, happy feeling. The brain uses chemicals called neurotransmitters to transmit these signals. Dopamine, in particular, plays a huge role in creating that sense of pleasure and motivation. It's like a tiny spark that ignites the feeling of joy. The brain's reward system is wired to respond to things that are essential for survival, like food, safety, and social connection. But over time, it can also be triggered by things we find deeply meaningful, like art, music, or love. Understanding how the brain creates joy isn't just about science. It's about connecting with the very human experience of happiness. It's a journey into the biology of what makes us feel alive and content. You're not just chasing happiness, you're chasing survival. The brain's reward system is ancient, built to help you survive and thrive, not just feel good. Every time you experience joy, your brain is making a decision. This thing is worth repeating. It's how we learn to seek food, shelter, and connection, even in the darkest times. Understanding how joy works in your brain isn't just academic. It's a tool. It helps you recognize when you're being manipulated, or when you're truly happy. You should care because every joy you feel is a signal from your brain saying, "This is worth it." And every time you ignore it, you risk losing the very thing that keeps you going. So the next time you feel joy, remember it's not just a feeling. It's a biological signal that your brain is working to keep you alive. And that's something worth caring about. Let me take you back to the dawn of humanity. Picture early humans sweating under the sun, hunting for food, and surviving in a world full of danger and wonder. Their brains were evolving, but they weren't just thinking, they were feeling. As they foraged and hunted, they experienced moments of intense satisfaction, like the first time they caught a fish or shared a meal with their tribe. These moments weren't just about survival, they were about connection and reward. As civilizations rose, so did our capacity for joy. The Greeks, the Romans, and later the Renaissance thinkers began to study the mind and its pleasures, laying the groundwork for what we now call neuroscience. In the 19th and 20th centuries, scientists like Freud and Descartes started to map the mind, but it wasn't until the last few decades that we began to understand how pleasure is actually created in the brain. So, as we fast forward to today, we're not just living in a world of technology and information. We're still wired for joy, just like our ancestors were. The biology of pleasure is ancient, but the science of it is modern. So imagine your brain as like a big toy box, and joy is one of your favorite toys. When you feel happy, your brain starts playing with that toy, making you smile and feel good. Your brain uses special helpers called chemicals to make you feel happy. They're like tiny happy stickers that stick to your brain cells and make you feel good. When you do something fun, like eating ice cream or seeing a rainbow, your brain says, "Hey, this is good," and releases those happy stickers. Those stickers make your brain feel like a party, and you end up feeling really happy and excited, like you just won a game. So, joy is like your brain's favorite game. When it plays, you feel happy. And that's how your brain makes you feel good. Let's start with the basics. Joy doesn't just happen. It begins with the brain's readiness to feel pleasure. This setup is about the right conditions, the right state of mind, and the right environment to spark that spark. Imagine your brain as a well-tuned instrument. For joy to take hold, the brain must be in a state of balance. Neurochemicals like dopamine and serotonin must be in the right place at the right time. Even the body plays a role. A calm heart rate, steady breathing, and a relaxed posture all signal to the brain that it's safe to let joy in. So, the setup is more than just a moment. It's a whole system working together. The brain, the body, and the environment all have to be in harmony for joy to take flight. Now, the brain's pleasure system doesn't just light up. It orchestrates a precise chemical dance. Dopamine, the key player, is released in the nucleus accumbens, the brain's reward hub, like a signal sent through a neural relay. This release is not random. It's a response to rewarding experiences, from a tasty meal to a heartfelt laugh. The brain learns to associate these moments with pleasure, reinforcing behaviors that lead to those feelings. This is where the brain's pleasure becomes more than a fleeting sensation. It becomes a memory, a learned response, and a motivator for future joy. But the brain doesn't just release dopamine. It also prepares for the next hit. It adjusts the release based on the frequency and intensity of the pleasure, keeping the system in balance. So, in the second step, the brain turns a simple stimulus into a complex, rewarding experience by releasing dopamine, learning from it, and preparing for more. Now, here's the clever twist. The brain doesn't just light up with pleasure. It actually creates a kind of emotional loop. When the reward system gets activated, it sends a signal back to the prefrontal cortex, which is like the brain's executive control center. This feedback loop is what makes joy stick around. It's not just a fleeting moment of happiness. It's a brain that's learning to associate the experience with long-term reward. So, when you feel joy, you're not just experiencing pleasure. You're training your brain to seek out and repeat that feeling. It's like a little reward machine inside your head. And that's why joy isn't just a fleeting emotion. It's a powerful tool for learning, motivation, and connection. It's how we stay curious, hopeful, and alive. When we laugh, our brain's reward system lights up like a fireworks display, releasing a cascade of neurotransmitters that fuel joy. Dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins work in harmony, creating that euphoric, light-headed feeling we all know. This isn't just a biochemical reaction. It's a symphony of neural activity. The nucleus accumbens, the brain's pleasure center, fires with rhythmic intensity, sending signals through the prefrontal cortex to regulate the experience. And don't forget the endocrine system. Joy also triggers the release of oxytocin and cortisol in balanced doses, creating a sense of safety and connection that deepens our emotional experience. So, the science of joy isn't just about what we feel. It's about how our entire body, from the brain to the bloodstream, is wired to create, sustain, and even crave that feeling of being alive. So, imagine your brain is like a chocolate factory. Every time you feel joy, it's like a new batch of chocolate is being made. Sweet, smooth, and ready to be enjoyed. The ingredients are your dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins. The real chocolate of your brain's pleasure recipe. They mix and melt together to create something irresistible. But here's the twist. Sometimes the factory doesn't even need a recipe. It just goes on a spontaneous chocolate spree, making joy out of nowhere. So, in the end, your brain is a gloriously dumb but accurate chocolate factory, making joy out of chemistry. And you're the lucky customer who gets to taste it all. Comment this emoji if you made it to the end. I've always thought happiness was something you could measure, like a scale or a trophy. But then I started traveling, and I realized happiness isn't a destination. It's a language, one that changes with the culture, the history, the people who live it. In some places, happiness is found in the rhythm of daily life. The way a farmer smiles after a good harvest, or the way a grandmother laughs as she folds laundry. It's not about big moments, but the small, steady things that make you feel grounded. In other cultures, Happiness is tied to the collective, to family, to community, to a shared purpose. It's not just about being content, but about belonging, about contributing, about being part of something bigger than yourself. So maybe the Western ideal of happiness, that solitary individual pursuit, is just one version of a much older, more complex story. And maybe, if we're willing to listen, we can learn how to feel happy in ways we never imagined. This video isn't about finding the right way to be happy. It's about understanding that happiness is a mosaic, made of many colors, many voices, many stories, and it's time we stop trying to fit all of them into one shape. So, what exactly are we talking about? When we say happiness, it's not just about smiling or feeling good. It's about how different cultures define and experience joy, often in ways that challenge what we've been taught. In many non-Western cultures, happiness is tied to community, duty, and connection. It's not just about personal success, but about harmony with others and the world around you. But happiness in other cultures might look more like contentment, resilience, or even a quiet sense of peace in the face of adversity. It's not always loud or visible. This isn't to say one way of being happy is better than another. It's more about understanding that happiness isn't a universal experience. It's shaped by our stories, our values, and the world we live in. So when we explore cultural perspectives on happiness, we're not just looking for new ideas. We're looking for new ways of seeing ourselves and our own paths to joy. You might think happiness is a universal goal, but the way we chase it is shaped by where we come from. The West sells happiness as a product, a destination, something you can buy and achieve. But in other cultures, it's more about harmony, community, and quiet contentment. When you realize that happiness isn't just about feeling good, but about living in alignment with your values and relationships, it changes how you see yourself and others. It's not just about what you want, but what you need. By learning to see happiness through different eyes, you begin to understand that your own happiness isn't just personal. It's political, social, and deeply connected to the world around you. It's not about you, but about how you belong. So yes, you might not notice it at first, but you should secretly care about this. Because when you care, you start to see the world not as a place to conquer, but as a place to connect. And that connection is where real happiness begins. Imagine a world where happiness wasn't a goal, but a rhythm. Ancient Greeks saw it as harmony, not euphoria. They believed happiness was a balance of reason and passion, a dance between intellect and emotion. In India, happiness was tied to detachment. The Upanishads taught that true joy comes from letting go of desire. It wasn't about feeling good, but about being free from the chains of the mind. In Japan, happiness was found in the moment. Wabi-sabi, the beauty of imperfection. It wasn't about grandeur, but about finding peace in the quiet, in the transience of life. Throughout history, happiness has never been a single truth. It's been a map, a melody, a path, very personal and ever-evolving. Each culture has its own way of dancing with joy. Imagine happiness as a rainbow, but not the one you see in a rainbow. Some people see it in the laughter of a family at dinner, others in the silence of a mountain. In some places, happiness is found in community, in shared stories and rituals that last generations. It's not a goal, it's a way of living. In other places, happiness is a quiet joy in small moments. A sunrise, a song, a moment of peace. It's not about being happy all the time, but being present. So happiness isn't just about smiling. It's about feeling, about connecting, about living in a way that makes sense to you. Maybe happiness isn't a destination. Maybe it's the journey and the way you choose to walk it. To understand how happiness is defined differently across cultures, we first need to look at the foundation, what each culture considers the starting point for a meaningful life. In many non-Western traditions, happiness isn't just a goal. It's a byproduct of living in harmony with family, community, and the natural world. This setup isn't about rejecting Western ideals, but about acknowledging that happiness is deeply rooted in context, history, and collective values. Understanding this foundation is the first step toward seeing happiness not as a universal state, but as a mosaic of human experience. It's not about choosing one path over another, but about seeing how different cultures have built their own unique blueprints for a fulfilling life. In many non-Western cultures, happiness is not a goal to chase, but a rhythm to live. It's woven into the fabric of daily existence, not something to be acquired, but something to be experienced. This rhythm is often tied to community, to nature, to spiritual practices. It's not about personal achievement, but about harmony with something greater than oneself. In these cultures, suffering is not something to be avoided at all costs. It's acknowledged, even embraced, as part of the human experience. It's not the absence of pain, but the presence of meaning. Happiness, then, is not a destination, but a way of being. It's not something you reach, but something you flow with. It's not a feeling, but a state of presence. This is the mechanism. Not striving for happiness, but allowing it to arise from the way you live. It's not a product, but a process. And in that process, you find peace. So here's the clever twist. Happiness isn't just a destination. It's a dance. In many cultures, it's not about achieving a state, but about maintaining a rhythm that allows for both joy and sorrow to coexist. It's like a river. It doesn't just flow toward a single point. It meanders, sometimes still, sometimes fast, but always moving forward with its own natural pace. In these traditions, happiness is not something you chase. It's something you cultivate through daily practices, like breathing, listening, or simply being present. This approach invites a kind of humility, recognizing that happiness is not something to be controlled, but something that arises when we stop trying to force it. And that's where the real magic happens, not in the absence of pain, but in the presence of resilience, grace, and an unshakable sense of being alive. Underneath all the stories we tell about happiness, there's a science that hums quietly, one that doesn't just measure joy, but deciphers how it's felt across different lives and lands. Neuroscience shows that happiness isn't a one-size-fits-all experience. It's shaped by how our brains interpret meaning, connection, and purpose, not just pleasure. This doesn't mean Western happiness is wrong. It's just a different kind of melody, one that's been amplified by individualism and consumer culture. The science is clear. Happiness is not a universal standard, but a deeply personal and cultural rhythm shaped by how we see the world and our place in it. So maybe the real question isn't how do we become happy, but what kind of happiness are we seeking? And who gets to define it? Imagine a tree that grows in a different kind of soil, not the rich, fertile ground we're used to. It doesn't need constant sunlight or water, but it thrives in the shade, with roots that dig deep into the earth. This is how happiness looks in many cultures. Not loud, not flashy, but resilient. We often measure happiness by how much it shines, but in other cultures, it's measured by how it holds up through storms. It's not about the sparkle, but the strength beneath the surface. Happiness is not a trophy to be won, but a rhythm to be lived. It's not the applause after a performance, but the quiet satisfaction of playing the music you love. So let's not confuse the spotlight with the soul. Some of the most profound happiness isn't loud. It's just real. And that's where the beauty lies. It's not about being happy all the time. It's about being rooted in something that makes you feel whole, even when the world feels uncertain.
Comment this emoji if you made it to the end.
You ever notice how sometimes just being around someone makes you feel like you can breathe again? It's like magic, but it's real. We're wired to connect. Our brains light up when we're with people who understand us, even if we're just talking about the weather. But here's the thing. These connections aren't just feel good. They're actually essential for our mental and physical health. So what happens when we lose them? It's like a part of us disappears. But the good news? We can rebuild those connections, one conversation at a time. This video is about how relationships shape our well-being, in ways you might not even realize. So what exactly are we talking about? Well, relationships are more than just people we know. They're the connections that shape our daily lives, the ones that make us feel seen, heard, and supported. They're the friend who calls when you're down, the partner who listens without judgment, or the coworker who celebrates your wins. These are the relationships that matter most. They're not just about big moments. They're about the small, everyday interactions that add up to a life that feels rich and meaningful. And they're not just about happiness. They are also about resilience, growth, and the support we need to face life's challenges. So when we talk about relationships, we're talking about the people who help us feel connected, understood, and grounded in the world. You might think your happiness is all about your goals or your success, but the truth is, it's the people around you who keep you grounded. When you're surrounded by love and support, it's like having a safety net you never notice until it's there. Even when things are tough, having someone to talk to, someone who believes in you, makes all the difference. It's not just about being there. It's about being present, and that presence is a gift. You don't have to be dramatic or overly emotional to care about relationships. They just have to be real. A simple text, a shared moment, or even silence can speak volumes. The people who stick with you through the ups and downs are the ones who truly matter. They remind you that you're not alone. And that's a kind of strength you can't buy. So yes, you should secretly care about relationships. Not just because they make life better, but because they make life worth living. Every single day. Let's take a quick trip through history to see how relationships have shaped human well-being. From ancient tribes to modern cities, connection has always been the bedrock of survival and joy. In ancient Egypt, families and pharaohs relied on strong bonds to build dynasties and temples. Relationships were the glue that held society together, both in the spiritual and practical sense. The age of exploration saw sailors and explorers rely on each other for survival in the unknown. Trust and camaraderie were essential in facing the dangers of the sea. In the 20th century, psychology began to formally study how relationships impact mental health. Researchers like John Bowlby showed that attachment is a fundamental part of human nature. Today, even as we live in a fast-paced world, the need for connection remains. Whether it's a friend, a partner, or a community, relationships continue to be the key to our well-being. Imagine you're on a swing, going up and down, and every time you're high, someone cheers you on. That's how relationships keep you happy. When you're sad, a friend shows up with a hug and a snack. When you're happy, they're there to share in the joy. Relationships are like a warm blanket. They keep you safe and cozy, even when the world feels cold. They don't just make you feel good. They help you feel like you belong, like you're not alone in this big wild world. So the core idea is this. Good relationships are like a special kind of support. They help you feel safe, seen, and strong. So, to understand how relationships sustain well-being, we first need to think about what sets the stage. It starts with building a foundation of trust and mutual respect. That trust isn't just about words. It's about showing up, being present, and making space for the other person in your life. This foundation allows for open communication, where people feel safe to share their thoughts, feelings, and needs without fear of judgment. It also means setting boundaries that respect everyone's space and needs, which helps avoid unnecessary stress and conflict. When you've got that setup in place, it's like having a strong base for a house. Everything else can stand on it, grow from it, and stay stable. So when we feel connected, our brain releases oxytocin, that warm, trusting hormone. It's like a quiet whisper of safety, letting us know we're not alone. This connection triggers a cascade of positive emotions: joy, calm, even gratitude. It's not just a feeling, it's a neurological shift toward peace. This dopamine boost helps us feel motivated, focused, and more resilient. It's not just about the moment, it's about building a foundation for long-term well-being. And the best part? These connections don't just help us feel good. They help us grow. They teach us empathy, build trust, and remind us we're part of something bigger. So here's the clever twist. It's not just about having relationships, but about how they actually shape the way we feel about ourselves. They're like a mirror, reflecting our strengths and helping us see our weaknesses with compassion. When we're surrounded by people who truly see us, we start to believe in our own worth. It's not about perfection. It's about being understood and accepted for who we are, flaws and all. This kind of relationship creates a safe space for growth, where we're encouraged to be our authentic selves. It's not just about feeling good. It's about feeling like we belong. And in that space, we're more likely to take care of ourselves because we know we're not alone. Our relationships become the foundation for our well-being, not just a bonus. So, the clever twist is this. Relationships don't just support well-being. They help us grow into the best version of ourselves, one authentic step at a time. When you think about well-being, it's not just about what you do, but who you do it with. Relationships act like a steady heartbeat, keeping your emotional and mental rhythms in sync. Studies show that social support can lower stress hormones and even boost your immune system. It's like having a safety net that keeps you grounded when life feels like a roller coaster. Even in times of loneliness, human connection has a powerful effect. Just talking to someone can reduce feelings of isolation and help you feel seen and understood. The science is clear. Relationships aren't just a nice to have. They're essential for long-term well-being. They help us heal, grow, and thrive. So imagine your mental health is like a garden. It needs care, water, and the right soil to grow. But if you're only watering it with stress and neglect, it's gonna wither. Now, relationships are the fertilizer. They provide the nutrients that let your mental health thrive, even when the weather isn't perfect. You don't have to be an expert to nurture your garden. Just like how a friend can help you water it, your relationships are the hands that help you grow. So, in the end, your well-being isn't just about you. It's about the people who help you water, fertilize, and even prune your mental garden.
Comment this emoji if you made it to the end.
You know that moment when you wake up and feel like everything is just right? Like the world is quiet and you're not sure if you're smiling or just exhaling. It's not the kind of happiness that crashes like a wave. It's more like a steady hum. Something you can't quite put your finger on, but feel in your bones. So how do you hold on to it? How do you build something that feels like it belongs to you? Not just a passing mood. Today, we're going to talk about building a lasting happiness. One that doesn't depend on the weather, the moment, or the mood. It's not about chasing perfection. It's about finding peace in the everyday, in the small and the simple. Let's start by asking, what does lasting happiness look like for you? And how do we make it real? So what exactly are we talking about? It's not about chasing fleeting moments of joy. It's about cultivating a steady inner calm that carries you through the ups and downs of everyday life. It's not about perfection. It's about showing up, even when you feel like you're not ready. It's about making space for small, meaningful things that anchor you in the present. It's about learning to hold space for your own emotions without judgment. To feel the discomfort and then to let it go, not as a rejection, but as a release. This isn't about ignoring life's challenges. It's about facing them with a sense of presence, clarity, and resilience that comes from within. So we're talking about a kind of happiness that isn't dependent on circumstances. It's something you carry with you, even when the world around you feels uncertain. You might think happiness is something you chase, but it's actually something you nurture. It's not a destination, but a daily practice. And the truth is, you already know what makes you feel good. You just forgot to ask yourself. You felt it in the quiet moments, when you're alone with your thoughts or when you're doing something you love. But those feelings are like whispers, easy to ignore if you're too busy or too scared to slow down. You might not realize it, but you're already doing things that bring you joy. You just haven't given them the credit they deserve. That's why it's important to care about this, because you're not just chasing happiness, you're rediscovering yourself. Caring about your happiness isn't about being selfish. It's about showing up for yourself. And in doing so, you're better able to show up for others. It's a kind of love that starts with you. So, maybe you don't need a grand plan. Maybe you just need to remember that you're worthy of joy and that it's okay to want it and to work for it every single day. Looking back, happiness has always been a pursuit, not a destination. From ancient philosophers to modern thinkers, people have searched for meaning in different ways, often through struggle and reflection. In the 1800s, happiness was tied to virtue and self-discipline. Thinkers like Aristotle believed it was the result of living a life of purpose and balance, not just pleasure. Today, we're told happiness is about self-care, gratitude, and mindfulness. But sometimes it feels like we're chasing a moving target, trying to catch something that's always just out of reach. But maybe the key isn't to chase happiness, but to build a life that naturally supports it. One that's rooted in connection, meaning, and a little bit of resilience. Happiness isn't about getting everything you want. It's about doing what makes you feel good, even when things are messy. You don't need a perfect life to be happy. You just need to notice the little things that make you smile. It's not about having all the answers. It's about showing up, even when you don't feel like it. Happiness is a choice you make every day, not something you wait for. It's found in the way you show up for yourself. The first step is to create a quiet space where you can sit with yourself without distraction. It could be a corner of your home, a park bench, or even a chair by the window. The goal is to feel safe, present, and ready to listen. Before you begin, take a few deep breaths. This isn't about forcing calm. It's about acknowledging the stillness that already exists within you. You don't need to fix anything. You just need to be here. Set a small intention for your time. Maybe it's to reflect on a recent moment that brought you joy, or to notice how your body feels in this moment. The intention acts like a compass, guiding you through the process. As you sit, allow your thoughts to come and go like clouds in the sky. You don't need to chase them or push them away. Just notice them and let them pass without judgment. This is where the practice begins. When the time is up, take a moment to return to your body. Notice how you feel now. Calmer, clearer, or maybe a little more grounded. This is the beginning of a lasting change, one moment at a time. The second step is understanding how the mechanism works. It's not about chasing happiness, but recognizing when you're not in balance. This is about noticing the signs of imbalance in your life. This mechanism is built on awareness. Being present, not just in the moment, but in the feeling. When you're not in balance, your body and mind send signals, subtle but clear. When you notice these signals, the mechanism starts to shift. You begin to take small, intentional steps toward balance. It's not a grand gesture, but a quiet, personal choice. This is how it works. Not through force or willpower, but through understanding. You're not just building happiness. You're building a rhythm that supports it. The mechanism is personal. It's not the same for everyone, but it's always there, waiting to be noticed. That's the second step. Learning how it works and how to trust it. The clever twist isn't about forcing happiness. It's about creating space for it. You don't chase it. You let it find you through small, consistent choices. It's about noticing the moments that feel right and then letting them guide you. It's not about being perfect, but about being present. This twist is in the rhythm of life. Small, mindful pauses that let you feel the world without rushing through it. The twist is that happiness doesn't have to be loud or grand. It can be found in the quiet, the simple, the consistent. By embracing this twist, you give yourself permission to be with what is, rather than constantly chasing what could be. There's a quiet rhythm to happiness, a science that hums beneath our daily lives, not loud or flashy, but steady and real. Our brains are wired for connection and meaning, but they're also shaped by habits, routines, and the little things we often overlook. These patterns aren't just emotional. They're biological, shaping how we respond to the world and how we feel in it. The science isn't about shortcuts or magic. It's about showing up, again and again, with intention and care. And in that showing up, there's a kind of peace. Not the absence of struggle, but the presence of resilience. Imagine happiness like a garden you tend every day, not a monument you build once and forget. You water it, trim it, and let it grow in its own time, without rushing or forcing it. It's not about perfection. It's about showing up, even when the weather is bad, and knowing that growth happens in the quiet, unnoticed moments. You don't need to be the gardener of happiness alone. Sometimes you just need to plant a seed and let someone else tend it for you. The garden doesn't need to be huge or elaborate. It just needs to be alive, and you need to be present to see it bloom. Happiness is not something you chase. It's something you nurture, day by day, like the quiet, steady rhythm of a garden growing. Comment this emoji if you made it to the end.